Welcome to the watershed. How about that? Pretty good gavel, huh? Well, we're not judges, so we don't know how to hit them properly. I'm Peter Tovar, and this is Ger Brophy. It is our honor as co-chairs of the Watershed Board of Trustees to open the annual meeting of the Watershed Institute. Here, here, here. The two of us became the Watershed's 30th and 31st chairs last July. We are incredibly proud and humbled to follow such great leaders as Watershed co-founder David McAlpin, civic leader and prominent voice on New Jersey policy Ingrid Reed, former U.S. Congressman Rush Holt, Ted Stiles, a biologist, professor, and conservation advocate who we remember each year with our Stiles Award for Environmental Leadership. Like all of these illustrious predecessors, we are committed to and focused on the watershed's mission, keeping our water clean, safe, and healthy by protecting and restoring our watersheds through conservation, advocacy, science, and education. Ger?
Thanks, Peter. So as Peter says, he and I co-chair the Watershed Institute. We coordinate on most things. This week, it was my turn for the tie. Good choice. Thank you. This institute and the almost 1,000 acres that we preserve here is incredibly important to all of us, as it is to you, I'm sure. Land has always been important to me. I grew up on a farm in Ireland, so everything to do with land and its stewardship is deep in my bones. The watershed is defined by what it does, and everyone here is always busy. But even I think by any standards, there's been a recent extraordinary burst of productivity, and Jim will touch on these, but it's worth noting the amount of work that's gone into the supporting of the real legislation, which is incredibly important for New Jersey. The coordination of streamwatch management or watershed management for the Stony Brook across a number of different townships, which was done under Mike's leadership. The ongoing good work that's going on with Streamwatch. The recent focus on Saltwatch, which I think was an incredibly important campaign. The focus and the new excitement around the podcast series that's doing so many things to bring to everybody's attention all the good activities, all the good work, and all the challenges that we face in this space. So this remains and continues to be an incredibly important place for us to work, and I couldn't be happier to see the incredibly meaningful and purposeful outputs that are coming from this organization.
I did not grow up on a farm in Ireland, but rather I grew up down in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and spent a lot of my youth on the banks in and about and on the islands in the Potomac River. One thing I would take away from that, even as a child, I saw the degradation of that river as it got worse and worse. The fish that we were catching were sick, pollution. And then the 1972 Clean Water Act, from there on, the river recovered. So that was one of the things that really struck me, that the river can recover. Even as a young person, I saw that. And it gives us all hope about what we can do. Although now you might have heard about the Potomac's recent pollution from a busted sewage pipe. It just points to the fact that we have to be diligent, no matter vigilant even, not just diligent, vigilant regarding safeguarding our water. So tonight we are celebrating the 77th anniversary. And as Ger was just pointing out, another year of accomplishment in conserving land and water and educating and inspiring thousands of children, teens, and adults. Thank you all for your engagement and support that makes our work possible. Ger?
And let me call out again, the people who make some of these things possible. The watershed scientists, educators, advocates, and land stewards focus their work within a 30-town region that includes Stony Brook, Millstone Watershed, and the adjacent portion of the central Delaware Watershed. And we work to improve statewide, the standards, the regulations, the scientific monitoring protocols, and the training programs in a way that transcends boundaries.
we want to thank the members of our Board of Trustees who are here tonight. Please stand if you will. And also thank you to our former trustees as well as our advisory board members. And please stand if you will as well. All of these former trustees and advisory board members do so much to continue to support the organization in our programs through their own volunteering and as faithful donors. So, Jer?
I'll finish off this section by, again, thanking our terrific staff for all the hard work, all the dedication, for being tremendous ambassadors for the Watershed Institute and for our conservation mission. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for engagement in this essential work. The Watershed has been sustained for all these years by people like you. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jim Waltman to take the program on from here.
Good evening. Good evening. Happy spring. Happy Earth Day. And thank you for joining us tonight. This is really one of my favorite times of the year and one of my favorite rituals of the year, the Watershed's annual meeting. We know that the American shad are running in the Delaware, Raritan, and Millstone rivers. Spring ephemerals are blooming. The birds are singing. There was an indigo bunting singing a few minutes ago. Who heard the bunting? Anybody hear the bunting? Okay. Amphibians are erupting from vernal pools. It really is a wonderful time here at the Watershed and around our region. And the fact that we continue to hold this meeting and so many of you come year in and year out. So thank you for your faithful support. And what a wonderful venue, the wonderful Margaret Rowland Gorey Hall. And I'm so pleased that Tom Gorey is here tonight. Tom, thank you for waving. Meg could not come. And I don't know if Michael, now there he is, Michael Farewell, who's the architect of this wonderful building. Michael, thank you for being with us. So tonight we celebrate our achievements in land conservation, environmental advocacy, freshwater science, and education of children, teens, and adults. And we honor the Watershed's long and rich history of successful conservation and education that dates back to our founding in 1949 by David Hunter McAlpin, Kathleen Anderson Payton, and other volunteers. Now I'll say in our ongoing efforts to keep water clean, safe, and healthy, the Watershed has no more important partner than the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. The Watershed engages with DEP in a variety of ways in a relationship that can be a little complicated sometimes, as I'm sure our guest already knows, but we'll figure out. So we're great allies. Our scientists work closely with DEP scientists to assess water quality and pollution and the health of species like the American shad. DEP is a recipient of our advocacy. We press the department for stronger regulatory measures to address issues like polluted stormwater runoff. And we're a recipient of grant funding from DEP. So that's a good trick. Lobby them, put out your hand, right? And DEP has been a generous supporter of our water quality monitoring program, watershed restoration efforts, open space preservation, and land stewardship. Put that away before I get myself in trouble. We're also an applicant for permits from the department, which we occasionally need as a land manager for projects like the restoration of our pond, Wargo Pond, and the construction of the Hickory Loop Boardwalk. So we're seeking help from DEP. And at other times, we contest permits that DEP is issuing to others for projects like the proposed Bridgepoint 8 warehouse project in West Virginia. So we have a very interesting, sometimes complicated, but always very respectful relationship, which is, I think, something we should all be proud of. So I'm thrilled, and we're all very pleased to have tonight with us as our guest speaker, Governor Sherrill's nominee to serve as the Commissioner of DEP, who will serve as the leader of our state's efforts to protect the environment and public health. Ed Potosnak has served as acting commissioner of the department since January, pending his confirmation by the New Jersey Senate. I'll tell you, Ed came from, I guess, a quite rigorous hearing on the budget right before this hearing, so we've got to be really kind to him. I think he had a little bit of a workout, but that's what his job is, right? He's the top cop, he's the top protector of our environment, and he suffers the slings and arrows that come from those who don't always agree. Commissioner Potosnak brings a varied background to this critical position. He previously served as executive director of the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters, guiding that environmental group for 14 years. That's pretty cool. I don't know that we've had a DEP commissioner who served as a leader of one of the state's environmental groups. And I was a proud founding board member of NJLCV. He also served as a council member in Franklin Township in Somerset County from 2022 to 2025. So he knows the challenges of local government in implementing DEP regulations and other measures. And he earlier served on his local school board and as the president of the school board, so he knows education. Before his career in environmental policy, the commissioner taught high school chemistry, during which time he earned the prestigious Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellowship. While teaching, he started a successful home improvement company as a licensed contractor to supplement his teaching income. So this guy's seen every corner of the policy arena that he now finds himself smack dab in the middle of. He's also served as a lecturer at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences at his alma mater, Rutgers University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a master's degree in education. Please join me in welcoming our guest speaker tonight, the Acting Commissioner of DEP, Ed Potosnak.
Thank you so much. It's really exciting to be among friends. One of the things Jim didn't mention is that in addition to being a founding board member at New Jersey LCV, he was actually at my interview. So I wouldn't be here without Jim. So let's give it up for him and his tremendous leadership. I think many of us wouldn't be here without Jim. So, and to Jer and Peter for your leadership, we appreciate it. I also see a lot of friends, so I hate to mention anyone that I see, but my neighbor, Dr. Ted, council member and friend Chase is here somewhere. I saw him. And he had the council seat before I had it in Franklin Township. And Dr. Dan Van Abs had the course at Rutgers I taught before I taught it. And just so many friends I look out across the room. This is really an honor and a privilege. The job and responsibility of a lifetime to lead the Department of Environmental Protection as acting commissioner, hopefully soon to be confirmed as commissioner, and lead a group of talented professionals at the department, over 3,000 people who every day go to work to protect our air, water, and land and our natural resources, and do things that every day I am just incredibly moved by and surprised by. We actually have a program called DEP Does That, to teach each other what we do, and it's ongoing and constant. So it's really incredible. And I'm also deeply proud of the work that the department has with the Watershed Institute and the work that you do here and all the things that Jim described that are critically important for us to be successful. As awkward as they might be, they're all important. So I would just say keep doing the great work. If you're here as a supporter and a friend, whatever aspect that you have, it's critical to have the Watershed Institute in New Jersey, working with partners across the state, with government at the local level, at the county level, and of course, at the Department of Environmental Protection at the state level. And I know also work directly with the governor's office and other agencies. The efforts that they provide to ensure environmental stewardship through conservation, advocacy, science, and education, they align exactly with what we do at the department and the endeavors that we are upholding every day to ensure that our waters are clean, safe, and healthy. And I really look forward to continuing this work together in this new capacity as acting commissioner as the Sherrill administration advances its goals and its mission to make New Jersey more affordable and more resilient and more responsive to the people of our state. We're already hard at work. It's been a busy 12 weeks since I started. Some of our work is focused on streamlining government and, like I said, making it work for people. But Jim described a project here, a boardwalk that he wanted to put in this building, which is an example of how we can build in harmony with the environment, reduce energy usage, and also be a place of learning, which also helps with stewardship activities in the future. All those things need permits. Permits take time. The longer a permit takes to go out the door, specifically if it's for a good environmental project, the longer we're putting off the benefits. Stream restoration, dam removal, coastal resiliency project, even some of our tree stewardship activities along our streams get delayed. And that means the environmental benefits are long awaited. You could take that to contaminated site remediation. Years in the permitting process, years of pollution may be making its way into our waterways, hopefully not our drinking water. And what we're looking to do is take the 97% of projects that the DEP approves and shrink that timeline. Not change the outcome, make sure we still protect health, safety, and the environment, but shrink the timeline so the good projects get to go faster. And that saves people time and money in a time where that's really at the top of their mind. We've already been busy as well with strategic reforms, structural improvements, positioning ourselves to reduce backlog, improve access and greater certainty for applicants. And again, we're upholding the state's environmental standards and resiliency goals each step of the way. In the governor's budget, there's $4.3 million to expand our permitting staff capacity. We have not seen an increase in the Department of Environmental Protection staffing in 15 years. This budget that I was just defending earlier today, the New Jersey Assembly, is the highest level in 15 years, a 2.5% increase over last year. And that helps. We're also looking to improve our infrastructure, our technological usage, so we can make data more easily accessible. Even though it might be there, finding it is also part of the challenge. So I know that because my staff sends me links and they say, it's right here. And I'm like, where? I'm like, I found the thing, but I don't know what it means. I don't really understand it. And so we'll try to break that down for folks. And continuing to embody the spirit of partnership and collaboration that makes that work so successful, particularly for our vulnerable communities that have borne the burden of toxic pollution and environmental racism. And the Office of Environmental Justice has assembled a team. It's called the EJ Action Team across the agency. And the staff are coming together to aid in the coordination and integration of the EJ-wide work within the organization. And through our priority work, we're also going to be better equipped to tackle the state's most formidable challenges. And that includes PFAS. It's a big priority for Governor Sherrill and Lieutenant Governor Caldwell. It's a huge problem for our state. And it also is an opportunity because we can continue to lead the nation and set a standard. Additionally, flooding. It hits every community. Coastal communities, inland communities with climate change, more frequent intense storms mean more destruction because of flooding. And the governor's committed to taking measures to address that and prevent that. And New Jersey continues to experience more opportunities to bolster resilience, making smart decisions that'll strengthen infrastructure and economies for all of our neighborhoods. So you're here at the Watershed Institute. I thought I would talk a little bit about water priorities and sort of what we have on tap here. So the staff is working across programs, recognizing that these network coordinated requirements will help all of our watersheds become more resilient and resistant to floods. This includes programs that are responsible for land use, our stormwater regulations, watershed restoration grant programs, water resource protection, including the state's drinking water standards and our source water protections, and of course, me being a chemist, a scientist by nature, our science and research initiatives. All these groups and more are coordinating to formulate policies that would not be possible without partnerships outside of our agency. So we're not doing this work alone. We're working with universities and nonprofits. And the DEP will continue to work with stakeholders at the local and state agencies to identify areas of concern and address goals for water quality, flooding, and resilience. And as you know, advancing the use of green infrastructure, these nature-based solutions. If you heard my testimony earlier today, I kind of added that in when we were talking about mosquito control. But particularly for watershed stressors such as flooding or impaired source water or surface water quality, it's of utmost importance today and in the future, because the best engineering can't take the place of nature. That's critical, and you all know this here, so I'm sort of preaching to the choir. And we can help our communities, and at the DEP, we're working to fund these efforts. We provide grant opportunities and loan opportunities that can be used to assist with improving technology, instituting water quality measures, and activities that help to restore natural environments, promote resiliency, and improve that infrastructure. We're also focused on data and innovation, ensuring that we're transforming how we protect our watersheds. The DEP is doing a lot of work doing remote sensing. We're doing continuous water quality monitoring. We're sharing that data in a transparent way so that it can be used by stakeholders across the state through our websites and public tools, so folks can make decisions about areas of concern. So every day I get an email about new HAB results in our lakes and our rivers. With the temperatures we've seen, the lack of rainfall, the fact that we're the most densely populated state, this is our new reality, and we need state-of-the-art monitoring to keep people out of harm's way. And it's a new economic trend as well, and something we need to be concerned with. So some of the tools the DEP has developed to assist with decision-making for the watershed resilience efforts include the New Jersey Watershed Evaluation Tool. We have the DEP's Harmful Algal Bloom website. We have remote sensing data that's available, Coastal Ecological Restoration Adaptation Tool, the EJ Map. All these things are amazing. If you hadn't had a chance to look at them, they are helpful for communities, and the Flood Risk Indicator Tool. And in partnership with Rutgers University, the DEP has also launched Watershed NJ, which is a suite of online tools that provide data, resources, and guidance to help support watershed education management statewide. And Watershed New Jersey is also helping to identify priority areas to improve water quality, reduce flooding, public health improvements, and restore ecological health across our state. And I know something that's important to the watershed is dams. I worked a little bit on a dam that we might call like a shared resource across my community where I live. But this is an issue throughout our state. Many of these dams were put in and now are standing in the way of nature. Mention the shad. I think, where are they stopping now on the Millstone? Blackwell's Mills. So there's a dam at Blackwell's Mills that needs to be removed. And these dams can literally be a barrier for the fish, but a barrier for policymakers. So, the work that we're doing through the Department of Environmental Protection's Bureau of Dam Safety is continually working to ensure that the safety and integrity of the dams are upheld, but there's also opportunities for us to remove dams that aren't serving us any longer. It's often customary for the owner of a dam to propose removal and rehabilitation to achieve compliance with our standards, but dam removals are often sought to support a number of other activities, as I mentioned, including habitat restoration, improving sediment flows in our waterways, increasing biodiversity, floodplain reconnection, and cultural and economic benefits. So the Bureau of Dam Safety, which is at the department, remains impartial on proposed methods, whether we want to rehab these things, which is costly, or remove them. But we need to make sure that they achieve compliance because there are safety considerations as well. Proposals from owners and operators to remove dams are considered on a case-by-case basis as the department works to balance the functions of the dams with the wildlife habitats and protections to life and property. Many of the dams that they're seeing are, people live under them. It's a little different than the neighboring ones and the projects that you have. Each one is unique, and they have many benefits and drawbacks depending on the circumstances, but advocacy matters. Helping our folks understand what's at stake, helping to secure resources and also convince decision makers is also a critical piece of that. Approximately 15 dams have been removed in New Jersey since 2020, so just in the last 6 years alone, and there are many current proposals to remove more. And one other thing I'd like to share with you is an update on the Drinking Source Water Protection Statewide Survey. This is something that's really been very helpful to inform us in our work. Drinking water source protection requires structural investments that are at a level that matches the value of the drinking water that it protects. Here in the watershed, all of you understand the water cycle and how interconnected everything is. Add our water resource management program, and you can understand how important it is to have proactive protections. So it's best to understand additional needs that we have to support drinking water source protection. And we launched this program to ensure that statewide survey, we could get that data in February at the 9th Annual New Jersey Watershed Conference, which was hosted by the Watershed Institute, and many other partners were helpful for that. We've received responses from watershed organizations, state agencies, governments, non-governmental organizations, other advocacy groups, consultants, water professionals, and collectively representing 20 of New Jersey's watershed management areas. Many of them represent multiple watershed areas or are operating statewide source water protections. About half the organizations and institutions have reported ongoing source water protection plans. Are currently, every organization or institution with a plan also reports having drinking water source protection as part of their plan. So that's good news. They're most commonly implementing stormwater controls, monitoring and doing data collection. They're doing outreach and education, land conservation easements, and agricultural best management practices. But what we've learned from these responses so far is that the most prominent barriers across all the sectors are lack of funding, insufficient coordination, and competing land uses. Not surprising to any of us here. In the state of New Jersey, we would have challenges with competing land use, that we would have challenges in funding. Every meeting I go to is about money in some way. Here I am, it's one of the, right here. And insufficient coordination often is coming up for us across the different stakeholders, not particularly across similar stakeholders. Like the NGOs may be coordinated, but maybe not coordinated with the local municipalities or state decision makers. So these are areas that we can each be supported through ongoing and forthcoming efforts from our water resource management group. And that helps us to change what we're doing to deliver the kind of support we need to make progress. And so the survey is still open and we're always looking for more feedback. So if you'd like to hear and share your thoughts, you can go to dep.nj.gov/DWS survey. Drinking Water Supply Survey. So just our normal website. So I've touched on a lot of different issues that I think highlight the work here at the watershed, but it's really just a snapshot of what the DEP is doing, along with its partners and collaborators across the state, to ensure that the environment is flourishing, that our drinking water supply is protected, that our natural environment continues to thrive, and that we turn back the hands of time on some of the legacy pollution that we've inherited. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here. I just want to say thanks so much again for this incredible opportunity to come and speak. Jim told me that I couldn't miss it because every commissioner has come to one of two things. And I had to miss the first one because I wasn't allowed to come. But because this is so close to Earth Week, which is awesome, they let me come and speak here tonight. And so to Jim and his team, to all of you here for being great supporters of the Watershed Institute, for what you do in your day jobs, keep on doing it. Keep on holding us accountable. Keep on encouraging us with positive feedback when we can. Keep putting your hand out for money for important projects. But keep bringing your whole self to this because there are so many distractions in the world right now that if we take our eye off this ball, we're going to have even more problems in our backyard. And we depend on this relationship to make sure that we can continue to deliver progress for communities across our state. And so I look forward to what we can do together, particularly in this new role. But the folks at the department that have been working there for many generations, some of them value this partnership as well. And I just am very optimistic about what the future holds in the Sherrill administration and with our partnership together. So let's do it. Let's get it done. Thank you.
So that's a new one on me. So the head of DEP reminding the world that I was on his search committee for his last job. Usually it goes the other way. You have to remind them, right? So anyway. The Watershed Institute's Edmund W. Stiles Award for Environmental Leadership is awarded to an individual or individuals who demonstrate outstanding leadership, dedication, and passion in advancing the cause of environmental protection and stewardship. The award is presented in honor of the late Edmund W. Ted Stiles, professor of ecology at Rutgers University. Among numerous leadership roles, Ted served on the Watershed's Board of Trustees between 1991 and 2004, including as board chair from 1994 to 1997. And he was a member of our advisory board from 1998 until his unfortunate passing in 2007. Ted dedicated his life to protecting land and water and to teaching and inspiring students to advance these goals. He played a leadership role in the Watershed Institute's land protection, science, and advocacy efforts, and with numerous other conservation organizations, including Friends of Hopewell Valley Open Space, Hutchinson Memorial Forest, and the DNR Greenway Land Trust. The Stiles Award was initiated in 2007, the year of Ted's passing. And over the years, we've recognized leaders in government, philanthropy, the nonprofit, and business sectors. Recipients have included U.S. Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, former U.S. Representative Rush Holt, former EPA Administrator and DEP Commissioner Lisa Jackson, and conservationists and owners of Terhune Orchards, Pam and Gary Mount. Gary was a former watershed trustee who sadly passed away late last year. I'm delighted that actually we have several recipients of the award with us tonight. And let me just give them a quick shout out. Longtime leader in watershed management and former watershed trustee Dan Van Abs is here. Dan, thank you. Co-founder of the Whole Earth Center, Hella McVeigh and her husband. Founding executive director of the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, Scott McVeigh is here. Founder and principal of Environ International and nationally recognized expert on air, soil, and groundwater contamination, Bob Harris is here tonight. I'll say what I love about this award in part is that, some years we give it to very prominent political leaders. We had Senator Bob Smith here last year, from a longtime chair of the Senate Environment Committee. But we've also presented the award to individuals whose leadership was quieter and more behind the scenes, like an extraordinary watershed trustee named Fred Spar. And I'm so glad that Fred's wife, Winnie, is here somewhere tonight. Winnie, thank you for being here with us, Winnie. And this year we recognize two public servants whose work is often not in the limelight, but is still critical to the fate of our environment. These are people that work hard. They don't get necessarily a lot of accolades, but they're great partners for the Watershed Institute. And the 2026 recipients of the Edmund W. Stiles Award for Environmental Leadership are two professional staff members from Montgomery Township, Mark Herman and Lori Savron. So I got to say a few more things about you. And the two of them have to rush off to a planning board meeting. I'm probably going to make them late by the more I say, but I have to say a few more things about them. So Mark and Lori and their colleagues in Montgomery Township have been fantastic partners in advancing our goal of regional watershed restoration planning. With Mark and Lori's leadership, Montgomery is working with the watershed to coordinate 8 towns in the preparation of a comprehensive plan to reduce polluted runoff and minimize flooding in the lower Millstone River watershed. All right, quick quiz. Where's the lower Millstone watershed? It's north. Okay, if you learn anything else today. Thanks to their leadership last year, Montgomery received a grant from NJDEP to support this effort. Lori Savron is Township Administrator for Montgomery, serving as the Chief Executive Officer of the municipality, overseeing day-to-day operations, managing the budget, and coordinating departments in implementing policies set by the governing body. Lori holds a master's degree in planning and public policy from the University of Virginia and is a certified public manager through Rutgers University. Mark Herman is Montgomery Township engineer. He plays an integral role in managing and advancing township infrastructure initiatives. His work involves overseeing a wide variety of capital projects, including sewer plant upgrades and improvements to the town's stormwater management systems. Mark is a graduate of the Rutgers School of Engineering. So please join me in congratulating and thanking Mark Herman and Lori Severon, 2026 recipients of this big, heavy award, the Ted Stiles Award.
I'm the one that has to go to the meeting, so I'm going to be really quick. I've been in Montgomery Township for 26 years. I grew up in central New Jersey. I love working in Montgomery. I love working with the people there. I do want to recognize some of the incredible people that we've worked with that are in this room. Former Mayor Louise Wilson is here, and thank you, Louise. Such an advocate, friend, advisor, so many things. And I think May have introduced us to start working with the watershed all those years ago. I mean, if you need to know somebody, Louise probably knows them, and she will hook you up with them and make things happen. Mary Reese, who's here, is our Environmental Commission chair, longtime chair, has just amazing ideas, and her leadership is calm and encouraging and brings people around the table to solve problems. So thank you, Mary, because that is something that we value very much. Mike Martin is one of our newer township committee members and a huge environmental advocate, sits on our environmental commission. And Lauren Wazalowski is our open space and stewardship director, long time. And if you know Lauren, she also knows everyone and everything. And if you need to know something, you just ask Lauren and she'll help you find it. So thank you, Lauren. And Mark Herman, you know, we're incredibly humbled for this. As municipal workers, we go in day out and do what we believe is right for our communities and for environment and water and all of those things. But it's not easy, and people don't necessarily always appreciate or understand why we're making life in their minds more difficult for them. And I always say that the people that have it the worst is the zoning officer and the township engineer, for sure. Nobody likes those two people. But if you know Mark, you'll love him. And this room especially loves Mark because he is a true supporter, and for floodplains and all of those wonderful things. And Mark, I'm incredibly proud to have you recognized this way, because I know the stress that you are under day in and day out, and it's incredibly touching for me to be able to share this with Mark and be team players together. And I just did want to also recognize the incredible staff here at the Watershed Institute, from Jim's leadership. Sophie Glovier has been so incredible. Mike Pizarro, if you need him to come out to a meeting in the middle of the week, he is there to help stand by us, stand behind us, stand in front of us. You have no idea how important that is to us, to have you as experts being there to share why things are important, why we're putting certain ordinances or regulations in place. So Mike, incredible thanks. And going in the way back, I saw Jeff Hoagland here, I think. And I just wanted to say, listen, when I started in Montgomery, I was the open space coordinator, I think the first in New Jersey, and assistant planner. And it was Jeff who taught me, if you want to know how healthy a stream is, you have to get into the stream. You got to walk it, lift up rocks. You really need to get dirty. So Jeff, that stuck with me forever. So you made me, a believer, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you all so much. I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
Thank you, everyone. I'll start with this. In the municipal world, we're pretty used to getting feedback, but I think you all know what kind. So receiving an award, that's different. On behalf of Montgomery Township, a thank you to the Watershed Institute for this incredible honor. Receiving the Ted Stiles Award means a great deal to us, especially because it represents the legacy of thoughtful, collaborative environmental stewardship. What makes this recognition so meaningful is that it reflects a true partnership. Working together with the Watershed Institute, we were able to pull 8 of the 13 municipalities in the Lower Millstone watershed to the same table. And that's no small feat. It really speaks to what's possible when we focus less on boundaries and more on shared responsibility. The reality is simple. The water connects all of us. What happens upstream affects downstream and vice versa. The challenges we face, flooding, water quality issues, environmental resilience, they don't belong to one township, they belong to all of us. We are also deeply appreciative of One Water Consulting for helping guide us through the Watershed Improvement Plan. They're helping us translate complex requirements into a practical roadmap. One that doesn't just meet a mandate, but moves us towards actionable, forward-thinking solutions. I want to thank our township committees as well. Their past and present support for environmental responsible policies does make it possible to turn good ideas into community-wide accomplishments. And I'd especially like to recognize our Open Space and Stewardship Director, Laura Mozalowski, close friend of mine, and through, without her efforts, a lot of this would not be possible. Her career has been devoted to protecting the landscapes that protect us. Open space isn't just something that we preserve, it's something that preserves us. Protecting our natural resources isn't just about today, but it's about ensuring a healthy environment for generations to come. And I'm happy to announce, because of her efforts, we are at near 40% of Montgomery Township as preserved open space. This award truly belongs to everybody that's in this partnership. It shows that when we work together, we can take on challenges that once felt too big and turn them into strategies to protect the future. So I think we're honored to be part of this regional effort, to be involved just like everybody in this room. And we look forward to continuing working on this together. So thank you. Thank you. I'm afraid to touch it.
I know.
You're coming in for a photo too.
Later.
You need to sneak out. So, Mark.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry.
Okay. How about another round of applause? Yeah. So when I was in 4th grade, we had a winter that was much like this past one. Snow and ice and cold weather that seemed to never end. Back then, of course, we didn't have virtual learning. We had snow days, which meant a reprieve from school. Bring back the snow days. Well, that year we had so many snow days that the school district had to take back a planned spring vacation day. Now, my best friend Johnny Healy and I were outraged that the school was going to take back a vacation day. So we decided we would play hooky. And so we did. We snuck onto a vast area of woods and fields near our homes where the land spread out endlessly. we didn't know that we were trespassing on private property. There's a stream on the property, and my friend and I decided we were going to follow it to the ends of the earth. After meandering in the stream for several hours, looking under rocks and logs and chasing fish and skipping stones and pronouncing ourselves world explorers, we were amazed when the stream joined another larger stream. And we decided, oh my goodness, we're going to continue on. Now we're really going to find the end of the world. Well, eventually we came to a spot where we could see a clearing on the left bank of the stream. And curious children as we were, we decided to scramble up the stream bank and find out what was there. Oh no, it was the Johnson Park School, the very school that we were playing hooky from. So how about a couple of dumb kids out on a big exploration, and what did they found the damn school that they were playing hooky from. We did make it back home, muddy messes, both of us, but we cleaned up and got away with our transgressions. Neither of our mothers came home from work before we were all cleaned up. They had no clue. Well, they probably did, but we'll pretend that they didn't. Now, the area we trespassed on is today the wonderful Mountain Lakes Nature Reserve in Princeton. The small stream was Mountain Brook, and the larger stream was the Stony Brook. So that's an interesting story for someone who would eventually become the director here, especially when we were the Stony Brook Millstone watershed. So like that year of my youth, the past winter has been ferocious. It's hard to remember on such a warm day, the snow and the ice and the cold that seemed like it would never end. And for all of us who care about the environment, it has felt like a metaphorical winter for more than a year now, hasn't it? Let's be honest, the outlook at the federal environmental policy level is pretty grim, right? The administration of Washington has slashed funding, laid off thousands of scientists, moved to repeal bipartisan programs designed to protect Americans' health and environment. So we're in an era where the federal government is retreating, I guess at best, retreating from responsibilities we all used to take for granted for the environmental protection of our nation. Which means that today, in this era, our state, county, and municipal governments, businesses, academia, the nonprofit sector, all of us need to fill the leadership vacuum. And fortunately, that is happening. On the last day of Governor Murphy's administration, after years of advocacy from the Watershed Institute, DEP adopted the Resilient Environments and Landscape Rule, or REAL Rule. REAL Rule complements another plan called the Inland Flood Protection Rule from a few years ago. At the core of both of these rules is science. Calculations from leading scientists forecasting into the future the size of rainstorms, the width of floodplains, the height of rising seas, all the way to the year 2100. And in a bold mood, DEP is using those projections as the measuring stick for regulating land uses today. These rules will help ensure that towns don't approve new homes that would place people in harm's way of flooding, or allow new structures be built in a manner that subjects those living downstream and working downstream to flooding. Unfortunately, like many good things, the REAL Rule has been under serious attack from opponents. You saw the DEP commissioner sweating. I'm sure he took some shots on that rule in his hearing today. So we need to keep fighting to maintain it. And I encourage all of you to please go to our website to learn how you can help us defend this REAL Rule. But this really has been a breakthrough in policy generated in large part by the advocacy we do right here at the Watershed Institute. Another such breakthrough and another accomplishment of advocacy from the Watershed Institute is the requirement that you heard talked about by the officials from Montgomery. And that's a requirement under the Municipal Stormwater Permitting Program for all towns to create what's called a watershed improvement plan. These are essentially plans to restore the water quality issues in the towns and to address the flooding problems. We know that watershed restoration is best accomplished by working collaboratively across municipal boundaries and county boundaries. That's been one of our core highest priority policy goals for the last 5 years now, getting towns to work together to create regional plans that can address these really complicated water issues. And we're very proud to be conveners and collaborators and cheerleaders and in some ways funders for initiatives in 4 sub-watersheds. You heard from our friends from Montgomery Township for the role that they're playing and the partnership we have in trying to advance this plan for the Lower Millstone. The Watershed Institute has also secured a grant from DEP to manage a very similar plan in the Assunpink Creek watershed, which is a tributary of the Delaware River that terminates in the city of Trenton. As our environmental challenges become more complicated, our work needs to become more rigorous, more sophisticated, and our conservation, advocacy, science, and education programs need to become more integrated with one another. And we're doing that. A couple quick examples. Our Streamwatch Schools program trains students to become scientists, collect and analyze data, and upload that information into an online portal that other schools can then review and compare to streams near them, combining science and education. We've trained 80 teachers and engaged more than 1,000 young scientists through this program. Our River Friendly Schools program encourages schools to teach their students about environmental stewardship and to take steps on their school campuses to improve environmental conditions, combining science and education and land stewardship through the River Friendly Schools program. As part of that program this spring, we helped build rain gardens and pollinator gardens in 12 schools in Trenton, Hopewell, and Allentown. And we're very proud of that work. We also need to lead by example here at the watershed, at our reserve and at our center. And we're very excited that late last year, our Board of Trustees approved a new master plan for our campus after more than a year of work. And that plan calls for us to ramp up our land stewardship, restoration projects here on the reserve, to address our carbon footprint, and to create new teaching platforms on our campus. You'll be hearing more about this in the months to come. Although one project is a major renovation of our parking lots to make them pervious to water and a teaching model for others to replicate. Now, many accomplishments to be proud of in a backdrop with plenty of challenges. Our waters are under serious threats, as all of you know as well as I do. Peter referenced the infrastructure collapse earlier this year on the Potomac. More than 250 million gallons of raw sewage emptied into the Potomac. A grotesque reminder of the decrepit nature of a lot of our infrastructure. And that has to be a priority to repair, upgrade, and keep up with the maintenance of such infrastructure. Last fall, the collapse of an unpermitted dam made out of silt and clay right here in the Stony Brook that released plumes of sediment. Just a reminder that our regulatory systems are also prone to failure, even as our physical infrastructure programs are. Jur mentioned the Salt Watch program. Because of the use of so much road salt and so much more than we used to, the concentrations in chloride in New Jersey's streams and rivers is 3 times what it was in 1977. That's a terrible impact on the ecology, the biota of our streams. We've heard mention of the harmful algal bloom. Sadly, that's an issue that just keeps growing larger and larger. And new threats are ever present. The explosion of AI data centers and the concern we all have on what that will mean for our water resources. We need to find smart policies that will require water recycling and minimize the water use and maximize water reuse at those. Our challenges can seem overwhelming, And there's plenty to be depressed, anxious, and even angry about. But this is not a time to shrink in despair, right? It's a time to be inspired that our work as stewards and teachers and advocates, scientists and leaders is more important than ever. Let's find joy in the nature that we've helped protect over the last 77 years. Let's be proud of the environmental leaders that we've helped foster and hopeful for the world that they will lead someday. Let's celebrate the important work that we all do together and the joy that this work brings to so many people, like the joy that I found in the stream so many years ago. I'm so grateful for all of you, and particularly grateful for our team of scientists and advocates, educators, land stewards, and other professionals. Will you please join me one more time in giving a thankful round of applause to all of our staff. And a few of our staff are celebrating anniversaries, so let me give a few shout outs. Rich Cavallaro, if he's still here, Rich has been our controller for 20 years. Jessica McDermott just celebrated her 5th anniversary, Assistant Director of Education. Olivia Spildurin has celebrated her 5th anniversary. Olivia, the person responsible for those 12 gardens at the schools. And let me again thank all of you for your support that makes this work possible. We're ever so grateful. Thank you. Okay. Now, what we've all been waiting for is to hear some words from the incomparable Jeff Hoagland, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, wow, look at all the people here. I was probably not asked this question at my interview, but I gave a similar story to Jim's story. I grew up near Washington Crossing State Park, and in that era, the idea was just to get away from home. I mean, right? We just get out of earshot. And there was a little creek there that I later learned was named Steel Run. So our goal was to just follow it to its end, but there were too many things in the way. You know, there were crayfish and salamanders and snakes coming out of hibernation. So we eventually made, after probably a couple of years, because we were little, we were young, we made it to the Delaware River, and the Delaware River was just unfathomable. It was massive. You might as well put a wall there, except it was beautiful. So we thought, well, now what? And it didn't matter. We had this love affair going on. And we realized we didn't follow it the other way. Like when we ran into the stream, we didn't go upstream. And I'm just curious, is that a thing? How many of you have followed a stream in your youth as some form of, your relationship with the land? Okay, well, all these people should be hired, I guess. But so we followed it upstream, and do you know where it went? It went to a culvert. It went to a culvert. And, a logical person would stop there. No. We followed the culvert, and each successional turn, which meant another street, the culverts got smaller. You'd stick your head out of the storm drain and look. That was my very, very early watershed education. I guess we'll go back to Montgomery here, because in Montgomery there was a teacher named Richard Rotter, and Richard Rotter was at the high school. And he is as a result of meeting him, and we were inspired to create this award, the Richard Rotter Award for Excellence in Environmental Education. We award this annually to a teacher who demonstrates a high level of enthusiasm, expertise, and commitment to environmental education in their classroom. This award is in memory of Richard. He had, my earliest memory of him was he would consult with us about trying to we call it stream watching now, but he wanted to investigate some of his community streams in Montgomery. He was on the Environmental Commission, maybe the town council, I don't know, but he was very involved in the community. But he really viewed environmental issues as an opportunity for his students, and he would engage his students. So how do we investigate the stream? And he had some doozies, right? He had, Rockbrook, you know, and who knows Rockbrook? Man, that is beautiful. Like you're having a troubled day, you just find yourself by Rockbrook. But he also had this Cruiser Brook. And Cruiser Brook, I remember leading a program there, and it looked like a milk truck had crashed, you know, right nearby. And that was, he had described this phenomena, but I hadn't run into that. And that was from a quarry where they're called finings, the little powder. It's colloidal, it doesn't settle, it just floats, and it looks like milk. So he eventually, one day, he wanted to take all his students out to the site of the new high school. I'm guessing that's around 2003. I don't know what year this is, 2004. So we go out, like, Richard, are we allowed to be here? There's this heavy equipment going on all around us. And he wanted, in particular, my colleague Rick Lear and I to run some investigations with students. He had probably 60, 80 students there. I don't clearly remember. I remember being horrifically outnumbered. And so we were looking at some of the wetlands that they were developing on site, and we were looking at some of the habitats. And when we're done, we're walking across the site, and here, you know, the kids are startled because here goes this bird with this busted wing, like limping across what would be the 50-yard line on what is a bare earth football field. Literally, this became the football field for the school. And so I quick alert everybody that bird's fine, but somewhere among our 80 pairs of feet, there is a nest. So stop. And the kids were, at this point, worn out. They were with, you know, outdoor education is enthralling or it's exhausting, or both. And one of the students looks down and said, "Hey, there's an egg right here, but there's not a nest." So that was their introduction to this lovely bird, the killdeer. And we loved working with Richard, but sadly he passed away. So in 2005, we announced this award, and this will be our 19th award that we're honoring. We had a break with that thing, what was that called? COVID. So I'll ask the recipient of this year's award to just hold on, don't come up yet. But the recipient of this year's award is Dr. Lauren Madden. I love it. She's got a posse here, right? She's the professor of elementary science education in the Department of Elementary and Early Childhood Education at the College of New Jersey. I surely messed something up there, but oh, it's good? Okay. Dr. Madden seeks to advocate for scientific literacy and the health of our planet through teaching and learning. Lauren coordinates the undergraduate, minor, and graduate certificate in environmental sustainability education. This minor is unique as it is accredited by NAAEE, also known as the North American Association of Environmental Education. Students have graduated from this program to grow their own green thinkers in their own classrooms. So that's pretty cool. Lauren is like a lot of environmentalists, but more. She's committed, she's ceaseless, she's tireless. She has published 40 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters. She's authored numerous books, including recently, last year, Climate Change Education Across Disciplines, K-12, New Jersey and Beyond. She is a mover and shaker in the climate change education world, and as a result of this, New Jersey has the strongest standards in the country in this regard. In 2021, Lauren received Outstanding Science Educator of the Year from the Association for Science Teacher Education. Lauren is a great partner. We collaborate with her whenever we can because we grow through that. And we're currently working with her environmental science for educators class, right? They're all nodding their heads. So at this moment, I'd like to bring up two people, two of Lauren's current students, Annabelle Mason and Bridget Wickstead, just to say a few words on her behalf.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Wait. Thank you. I didn't know if I could move. Good evening. My name is Bridget Wickstead. I am profusely honored to be able to say a few words about what an incredible educator and person Dr. Madden is. I've only met Dr. Madden since the beginning of the semester, but I feel as if I've known her so much longer than that by hearing my professors praising all the ways she has advanced environmental education in New Jersey. As if this isn't enough, she is also a prominent educator who positively impacts their students' lives every day in the classroom. I currently am taking environmental science for educators, and it has been such a privilege being able to be taught by Dr. Madden with her contagious passion and enthusiasm for what she teaches. Even though the class is on Mondays nights, and all I want to do is lay in my bed scrolling on TikTok, I am always excited to attend class because Dr. Madden fosters such a warm and opening environment for all of her students. One day, I hope I can be half of the leader and woman Dr. Madden is, and we need more of her in this world with her dedication to advancing environmental education and her pure joyous love and care for the environment and her colleagues, students, family, and friends. And now I would like to introduce Annabelle to give another speech. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Dr. Madden. My name is Annabelle. I have known Dr. Madden for 4 years. I'm a senior at the College of New Jersey, and I think that, one of the things that stuck out to me the most when I was trying to write this at school on the back of a test was I am a history secondary education major. So normally you wouldn't think that there's any connection between environmental sustainability and history education. But through my work with Dr. Madden, it's really been revealed to me that there can be a connection anywhere that you want to make it. So I have, the minor in environmental sustainability education. I'm going to be graduating with it. Throughout my journey in that minor, Dr. Madden has been so genuine and kind and helpful to every single one of her students, including me. I'm about to be presenting my independent project at the Celebration of Student Achievement, and she was my advisor for that project. And I think that I can speak for the entire class and everyone that's ever, had the pleasure of working with Dr. Madden when I say thank you, from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you've done for every single one of us. Genuinely, I can't overstate how caring and kind she is. She sent all of us postcards in the mail over winter break, excited to be working with us in our class this spring. So thank you, Dr. Madden. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award. I will miss you after I graduate, and I can't wait to see what other big things you do. So, thank you. If you want to come on up, Dr. Madden.
Wait, students? Students, what?
Yeah.
Enough room? No, we'll wait till we invite them up.
Great. 1, 2. Thank you.
All right. Let's make her hold the award for the photo.
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay. I need everybody more together. Yes, together. Should we have a front line? Okay, that's good.
There we go.
Okay. 1, 2. Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. I cried a lot. That was really They're really wonderful students. I have the best job in the world, and I have the best students there ever were. And there are going to be some amazingly lucky high school students in Annabelle's class next year that I'm so excited for. And all of us are going to be lucky for the advocacy that Bridget does as an environmental lawyer down the road. And among this, yes, give them they're so good. Thank you. Among this class, I have teachers who I'm thrilled to have and I get to work with all the time. But this semester, it's been incredibly wonderful to really have a chance to work with lots of different kinds of students. So there's engineers and public health professionals and journalists and scientists. And I'm so lucky to work with each and every one of them because we can't do this alone. Something a lot of the folks who said earlier was recognition of all of these different collaborations that need to happen to make this kind of work actually actuate, right? And I got to see that this semester. Jeff and Jessica and Davis have been spectacular partners for years and years. And the last several years, I've had the great fortune of getting to teach this class in a community engaged learning type environment, which is unusual. We don't get to do that all the time. And I've had the great fortune of bringing my students here. And the way the Watershed Institute staff, not just the educators, but the scientists and the policymakers and the leaders too, they've taken my students as partners. They've listened to their advice. They've had these mutual conversations that were generative and grew ideas. I have a hard time standing in this building and not feeling, and not exhaling, right? Don't you feel that when you walk in here that this is a place where good things happen? This is a place where the world changes for the better. And I couldn't be more grateful. And I do have to say also, so my own children are here, and I get to watch them play in Shippataugan Creek behind my house. And it's one of the greatest joys of motherhood is to see that. And sorry, I'm a crier. This is why I could never be a politician or a department chair. I do too much of this. But during COVID, every Tuesday, especially that first year of 2020, every Tuesday of that spring, after we had hours and hours of Zoom first grade and Zoom college classes, we came here and we watched the tadpoles grow into salamanders. And sometimes we saw Jeff and we read a haiku, or we talked about, is baseball going to come back this year or not? And those were some of the things that helped mark the time and make my family get through one of the hardest times. So I am so grateful to live in Central Jersey and to have this wonderful resource. And it's been part of both my personal and my professional life to be here. And I am so incredibly honored by this wonderful award. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the award winners. You all were very deserving, and that's how we do things right in New Jersey. We are near the end. We wanted to close by recognizing our 3 retiring Board of Trustees members for their years of service and just highlighting a few of their many contributions. Shefali Shah, I don't know if she's here, but Shefali was our vice chair and a leading driver of our 5-year strategic plan, which continues to guide our work today. There's Shefali. Susanna Weiss co-chaired our development committee for many years and also spearheaded our annual solstice run. Susanna? And Ari Sorogan was our treasurer, and with his deep financial experience, provided sound guidance through our recent years of growth and programmatic expansion. Thank you all for all you've done for the watershed. Gaveling down. Thank you all.